I'm Dave.
And this is Preview with the Prior.
The show where we speculate about the upcoming episode of Better Call Saul.
Often incorrectly. So this is the first Preview with a Prior that we're doing for season 4.
Almost a post-view / preview.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad I put that marshmallow on your microphone because Preview with a Prior is a lot of P's.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to solve the P problem because we're pretty plosive.
We are pretty plosive. Was it something I just learned thanks to you, Dave? So it's kind of interesting, and the reason why we didn't do a preview show beforehand, some people were asking about that, and the reason is because it was all just kind of dropped on us this year. I really feel like we were kind of surprised by it. We were like, oh shit, it's like 1 month out. Go.
We were surprised by the longest delay ever.
Mm-hmm.
So we just didn't prepare.
We just didn't prepare. All right, so we'll go with that. We just didn't prepare. So, but we are we're doing it today, Dave, and we are here at Third City Sound.
Wonderful climate-controlled Third City Sound in downtown Joliet, Illinois, right across from the historic Rialto Theater where the Jim Brewer comedy show just let out.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go. I'm just
he was like
saying.
Goat Boy on SNL or something like. It was also on Half Baked, right?
He does a pretty cool AC/DC impression and some other like rock star type things.
Okay,
very special in my heart. He's a pretty funny guy.
Awesome. Well, I think what would be fun to do, Dave, is go through some Twitter correspondence. So you can insert the jingle here. Listener correspondence. And also, we got some reviews that we're going to go over from iTunes.
That's my favorite part about between episodes is just reading reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I obsess about it.
I don't at all. In fact, I forgot that was even an option until the other day when you said, hey, it only took us 2 days to get our first negative review.
Well,
at first I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot that you could even review on iTunes. So if you haven't yet, please give us 4 stars and review us on iTunes or not. Grade us as you see fit.
I always think that you're legit when you get hate mail.
Exactly.
If somebody cares enough to tell you how much they don't like you, then they're listening.
I would agree with that. And it's humorous. Remember when we first started and there was like this big wave of people trying to be the Better Call Saul podcast, like
right.
be the dudes who are not AMC who have a Better Call Saul podcast. There was like a big wave of pretty funny reviews.
Yeah, totally.
And it was kind of fun because the best ones are the bad ones.
Yeah.
I find that absolutely hilarious because all I can imagine is, one, if people think we suck, that's cool. I'm cool with that.
Right.
Well, I think we suck half the time.
Yeah,
but not only that, it cracks me up that somebody would listen to something like, maybe I just don't understand it, but if I heard a podcast and I really didn't like it, my first reaction isn't to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go write a review and I'm going to tell them how much they suck.
Well, I'm going to warn everybody else from wasting their time, you know. That's part of the reviewing process is you are letting other people know what you think. So whether or not they want to waste their time, as the whole like reason Yelp exists.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's column A, column B.
Okay. Yeah.
But I always take those as flattery because it's like you hear like I think our podcast sounds really good because I think I do a good job with it. Mm-hmm. So when you sound legit, people expect you to be legit. We're still just 2 hacks in a freaking bedroom, garage, or studio,
right?
You know, and so it's like, yeah, we sound like we're supposed to be good, and then we're not.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, I'm just here to have fun, man.
Exactly.
We're your guys on the couch. I'm not. I'm like
literally today. We are
guys on a couch. Yeah, and as always, I'm never going to be that person that will obsess over an episode, watch it 10 times to make sure I get every little detail correct.
No,
I prefer the more. As if there was like 10,000 of us sitting in a room and watched the show, and then we just decided to shoot the shit about it.
Right, and some people don't like that about our show, and that's totally fine. But like, I kind of use this to learn more things. Mm-hmm. Like, I want our listeners to tell me things. Like, we got sent a link to an article with some pretty fascinating information in it.
Absolutely,
that I'm sure we'll discuss in a bit. And I wouldn't find that on my own. So thank you guys, for sending us shit to watch.
Absolutely. So let's start with some Twitter folks. Theo. ID Man or Theo Idman.
I always say it in my head as Theo Idman or Theo Idman.
Theo Idman. All right. He says, and this is as happy as I am for Better Call Saul is back on. I'm equally stoked to have the 2 knuckleheads, Brian and Dave, back on Tuesday back on my Tuesday morning commute.
Heck yeah.
Via the Better Multiple Call Saul podcast. So thanks a lot, Theo. It's awesome. Dave and I, we in like the year and a half since last Better Call Saul, we've done nothing important, and Jeff, who isn't here with us, but we have A Plummus Among Us, the Rick and Morty podcast, which that's become erratic just because of the state of Rick and Morty right now. But hopefully, when that gets going, we'll get more. We can make more content because it's a little bit more consistent. Plus, He had a kid. You're working on like TV shows and
I'm doing
albums.
Another podcast that I don't talk about much because it's called What's Going Down in Downtown J-Town, but it's so specific to downtown Joliet, Illinois that, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys are even from Illinois. Yeah. I know one Twitter correspondent is from the Milwaukee, Chicago metropolitan area. But I doubt a lot of people from Joliet are listening.
Okay.
And if you are, check that show out.
Chad Ingalls, he just says, finally, some Better Call Saul. I just want to give him a shout out for being excited because he tagged us in that tweet. So thanks, Chad.
Tag your writ.
Scott Cuthbert says, what did Mike sign on the birthday card?
Reach for the stars.
Reach for the stars. Barry H. Right?
Yes.
It's so generic. Maybe that's a flaw, though. He probably should have put a fake name down. Right, because he's already faking
what if
that.
That comes back to bite him in the ass.
Right, because Barry would like. What if that chick who's
he already said he has made it known to somebody that he got in with. He said he stole an ID.
Gotcha. Okay, so he can pull the like, hey, that was part of my ploy, scoping you guys out.
They already knew that he was walking around with Barry H's ID.
Okay, all right. Billiard Lentil says, "Welcome back, guys." Well, thanks, Billiard. I appreciate that.
It's good to be back.
It is. Does Jecta Membra on Twitter didn't really write anything, but he's liked a bunch of our tweets, so super cool on him.
We like you too.
Grammy McRae says, "Hey guys, I was hoping the fire inspectors would find some kind of illegal electrical hookup in the ruins of Chuck's house. Evidence that, though he was crazy, he wasn't wrong."
Well, Jimmy did plant that camera or whatever at one time.
Right, but I think what he's...
No, I see what you're saying, and that would have been cool, but unfortunately, no.
Okay.
But it would have been cool.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
It would have. Philip Murphy and Cody didn't really type anything. Cody, our boy Cody.
Nice.
Philip Murphy and Cody didn't really type anything, but they gave us hearts, which is Twitter's now 3-year-old like sign is the heart. So we appreciate the hearts.
Like.
Absolutely. Same thing with Jack McGee, gave us props on Twitter. And our buddy Mall of America, MAUL of America, agrees with us. He says, remember, we made the comment, if you ever want to look official or like you belong at something, just bring a clipboard with you.
Yeah.
Nobody will question you. And he agrees. He actually sent a picture from the James Bond movie, Diamonds Are Forever, with James Bond walking around with a clipboard. It says, proof that to sneak around inside a secure installation, all you need is a clipboard.
All you need.
James Bond infiltrated a Spectre lab in Diamonds Are Forever.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Andy McAfee and Sam Gordon also giving us love on Twitter. We got hearts, which is nice. And so we started a little bit, I guess I started a little bit of a small controversy here about how to fix a bike chain. Right? You agreed you would flip the bike over, right?
I was on the side of flip the bike over.
Right. And our buddy Jeff, who isn't here, he's also on the side of flip the bike over. Sam Gordon says, how the hell else would you do it? And how I used to do it was if the chain fell off my bike, I would just stop, loop it over the top of the coaster, right where the pedals connect to.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's on the top of it, when you pedal, it's the same motion as turning it upside down, and the pedal, and it would just pull it over, and the chain would pop on. It'd take like 2 seconds. That's how I've done it my entire life.
There's something in my brain that won't let me put my weight on a sprocket that isn't fully chained. I don't trust it.
Okay,
you just trust it more.
Maybe I'm just a pro. You never know. Maybe I did sweet
Maybe
BMX
you're just
tricks
more
back
efficient.
In the 80s. Huh?
Maybe you were in the movie Rad.
Man, I am pretty rad. So I like. So then
it's more efficient.
So then Sam Gordon's reply is, but the chain guard is in the way. Touche, Sam. But those of us who were badasses, we didn't use no chain guard. That was like the first thing I took off.
You know what? I didn't even think about that. That is why you would flip it over, because you can't do it on top because the chain guard's in the way. You have to go from the bottom, freewheel it backwards, and then go forward or something like that.
Okay, so for those of us that are hardcore, we don't use no chain. We didn't use chain guards in my neighborhood, Dave.
You probably had a BMX without any gears.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I had like a 10
What other
speed.
bikes are there?
I had like a 10-speed.
No, I had like a mountain bike. You had a 10-speed or a mountain bike?
I had one of them sweet 10-speeds where the shifter was on the handle.
Oh, nice. No, I had a mountain bike, but that doesn't have a chain guard on it either. It just has the pants guard that runs parallel to the gear. So you still be able just to pick the chain up, put it on the... Maybe
the bike in the show had a chain guard and we just didn't notice.
Maybe. I'm just saying, from my own experience, that's how you fix a chain on a bike. Our buddy Brant says, hey guys, what have you been up to? And we're just debating chain guards, Brant. That's all. Hanging out, debating chain guards. Disjective member says, if the chain has a guard on it, take it off and fix your pant leg. If the chain keeps falling off, get that shit fixed. That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Or do the roll up your left pant leg.
Right, yeah, like LL Cool J.
Oh, that's why they did that, because they were a biker gang.
Yeah. Cooter's Garage says, I thought it was odd that Gilligan didn't use a real hospital or mall names for Gene's flashback. He is usually detail-orientated. He still loves the show, but that just stood out to him. And he says, if you couldn't tell, I live in Omaha.
Huh.
So, yeah, I guess that's kind of true. Even like the hot dog stand and a bunch of the buildings and such are always real-life names, and they didn't use any...
Well, I noticed going back through season 3 that the mall walking they'd always pass by a store called Crazy 8.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And that was the character.
Right.
And is that a real store?
I don't know.
But
maybe
that's in Albuquerque. So any Albuquerque people near the Albuquerque Mall in the Albuquerque district, that Crazy 8 is a real store. Because I always assume, unless I know for a fact that they're making up store names, because I thought there'd be like trademark issues.
Mm-hmm.
Which there might be. They might pay to use the name and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I always assume that they're made up, so I didn't know that those.
So really, we haven't done reviews in a while. So I went back a year, and we have 4 iTunes reviews.
Nice.
Ty Gurrin on iTunes says, I like these dudes. They're very real, conversation-orientated discussion. I can tell they enjoy working together as much as watching the show. Thank you for the commentary.
I'm a real boy.
Well, Ty, I hope you're still listening to us, and thank you so much for the belated thank yous for the review from 1 year ago. Yeah, which definitely fits in the time frame from the last time we saw Better Call Saul, because it's been the longest time. Absolutely. So, Kavansky wrote this a year, just shy of a year ago. He says, it grew on me. 5 stars, which is super awesome. He says, definitely a polarizing personality on the lead guy, but loved it all. Worth a listening to. Well, thank you, Kavansky. I don't think I'm all that polarizing.
I can see how you can be polarizing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Give me one example. If it's my innate sexiness, I totally agree with you that I can be polarizing.
It's your overall masculinity.
Yeah, well, yeah. If there's no such thing.
It's your conservative liberal libertarianism.
Right. Well,
yeah,
as far as my masculinity goes, like I don't believe in toxic masculinity, but I do like to think that if toxic masculinity was an actual thing and not something people just made up last year, if that was a real thing, I would like to think that my masculinity goes beyond toxicity, and I would like to think that is venomous. I would like to think that my masculinity is so masculine that motherfuckers could die if they don't get to the hospital rather quickly.
In which you have just proven how you can be polarizing.
Well, that's the cost you pay for being awesome, I guess.
So, hey.
Either way.
I want as many negative reviews as positive reviews.
But hey, you know what? You know what's not polarizing? Kavansky, I think it's awesome that you spent the time to make an iTunes review. That is cool as much.
That, and you took the time... you took the time to get through it a little bit and see if you actually like us after a few listens, apparently, because you said it grew on you.
Yeah, and when we like you, Kavansky. Jane Marie Jane from April of this year says, informative and hilarious, 5 stars. This is a high-quality pod.
Oh.
Good sound, good content, funny, really funny. Stop lefty cultural appropriation. Just listen. Don't overthink it.
Okay, I'll agree with 3 of those 7 comments.
Cultural appropriation. Jane, thank you so much. Cultural appropriation is also a concept I don't buy into. It's
is kind of
that used to be
when we decided to become podcasters. We appropriated that culture,
right? Well, cultural appropriation just used to be called inclusiveness and like acceptance, and now it's like a bad thing.
Now it's inappropriate.
Yeah,
it's inappropriate appropriation.
That's hey, but that's fine. If people want to feel that way about things, they can feel that way about things. I'm just happy that Jane listens to us. And Dave's friend from 3 days ago
probably is
Bell Moore says lame, 1 star.
Ooh,
a couple of country bumpkins. Their jokes are terrible and just unlistenable. And I guess I can't argue with that.
No, I can't either.
I also think our jokes are terrible.
Yes.
Country bumpkins, though, I don't buy. Is Chicago a country? Is Chicago in the country?
Well, I mean, a lot of people consider where I stay country.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small town. You're a suburbanite.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah.
But originally, I guess originally we were kind of country bumpkins.
I know, but
we
like
kind of live in the middle of nowhere.
But even if we're country, we're not even really country, right? Because any way you look at it, we're like the farm fields just outside the suburbs of Chicago.
We've both been lost in cornfields.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I passed out. I almost passed out in a cornfield one time. One time I was at a party, and I used to think it was funny, and I was like, you know what? I have no clue where I am, and I'm wasted. I'm going to see if I can walk my ass home.
I remember this night.
Right. So I was hopping over fences and stuff, and somehow I ended up in the middle of a cornfield, and I was so drunk, and I was so tired and beaten up because I wear flip-flops if there's no snow on the ground, and walking through a cornfield is not the best place to wear flip-flops.
No.
And I remember being like, you know what? Fuck it. I also don't mind camping. So I'm just going to lay right here in this cornfield, and then I'm going to wake up with the sun, and I'll find my way home. But as soon as I closed my eyes and felt myself drift off to sleep, I started thinking about, like, what if a deer runs through here and stomps on me? So that was, I remember actually thinking, like, what if a deer jumps on me? That's a pretty lame way to die. Or what if it breaks my leg? Now I got to walk through the course, and then I was just begrudgingly.
Was the corn up, or was it?
It was like after they combined it.
Oh, okay.
So it was like stalky, like what I mean. There was because it doesn't pull it out of the ground; it kind of cuts them off. Right. And that was my main concern was what if a deer ran through here and jumped? Not like what if there was a tractor or a flash flood or like
they don't harvest in the middle of the night when the field's already been harvested, so don't think worry about that.
Tell drunk Brian that because that was a legitimate concern. That was a legitimate concern. So, anyone out there who takes the time to email us or hit us up on Twitter or write iTunes reviews, whether good or bad or
indifferent.
Or what?
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Good, bad, or indifferent. It's just super cool that you either gave us a chance or you like hanging out with us because we like hanging out with you guys as well. It's kind of why we do this. We make no money on it. So... And a lot of times it's a burden to our personal lives. but I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy talking with you guys and interacting with you guys. So even if you don't like me or find me polarizing, or if you're like me and you find me endearing and charming, I appreciate you.
Or if you're like me and just tolerate you for an hour at a time.
See, that's what we need is tolerance.
And it gives me a reason to get on Twitter because I literally delete Twitter. I said literally. Lefty cultural appropriation.
Oh.
Because I delete Twitter as soon as the season's over, and then I reinstall it when the season begins just to interact with you guys.
Yep.
So you're welcome.
They don't. The word hero isn't used enough. In today's modern society, Dave, but I
screw that joke. That's lame. I do want to comment on a lot of our reviews. Seem to insinuate that we are intoxicated when we do this show, and I am 95% of the time I'm sober. Unfortunately, I'm not sober right now as we're doing the show. But usually I'm sober. So apparently I sound intoxicated.
All right, and I just have this weird fat tongue lisp thing going on that I've had my entire life. So I'm not wasted.
Yeah.
But I may steal a beer from the studio fridge, Dave.
That may have. That's fine.
Absolutely.
So just so you guys know, we're generally sober when we do this.
Generally, yes. All right. So episode 402 is coming up Monday. So full disclosure, we get these, right? We get the screeners
in advance.
I was traveling for work.
You got bored?
I got bored.
Uh-huh.
I turned on 402.
Uh-oh.
I don't remember a goddamn thing about it.
Nice.
Like I sat here, I sat here and I watched previews and such, and I really thought like, wow, this should be at least somewhat familiar to me because I'm doing preview with the prior, so like I gotta let Dave take the lead. But like I don't remember it at all, so I must have fallen asleep. Yeah. I have one of them new age companies where like, they have like, I work for one of these new age companies, not Google, but like where, they have like foosball in the office and like, hey, it's Tuesday and like everybody's going drinking. What the, why not? You know what I mean?
For Grizzle.
Like, hey, everybody, like eat, like, let's go out to the bars because we're coworkers. And apparently that's what we're supposed to do nowadays. And
yeah,
I think that might've just got the best of me. And I think I passed out after one.
It happens. It happens.
So
let's speculate then.
Let's,
or I can speculate. See if I can trigger any memories.
Okay, go ahead and speculate. I'll let you take the lead, and I will respond in kind.
Oh, where to begin? Kim dies.
Of course. Of course.
Actually, we didn't even talk about the article that got sent to us, and I don't remember who sent us the article about the things you missed in 401.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was about the Gene scene and the Kansas City Royals bag. And so you're welcome.
That's right. You called that, right?
But we didn't get into detail about what the song's about. That was one of the things. There's some cool stuff. Brian has either retweeted it or will retweet it right now. Well, something's going to happen with Nacho.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right. The thing about Nacho that, one, we talked about how silly it was, like his impatience.
Yeah.
So as I think about this, like his impatience to get rid of the pills and stuff like that, maybe that wasn't, like the way it came across to me on 401 was kind of cheap, but maybe that's just one of those things where we hadn't seen that side of his personality,
right?
Or he cracks under pressure, right? Because he was always cool, calm, and collected, but now the shit got real because he tried to poison Don Tio, right?
Hector,
well, Uncle Tio, but
Salamanca,
yeah, right. Yeah, we're all talking about Hector. Yeah, we're all talking about right. Maybe this is just like the start of his downhill thing and he can't handle the stress. It's one of those things, maybe he's just like, as soon as he poisoned and he watched him get hauled off and all this stuff, he's like, oh, fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then he starts making dumb decisions.
Huh. Yeah.
So what if he gets really sloppy from here on out? Like it's destroyed his whole psyche,
Yeah. I like it because that's very possible.
It's like the fighter that goes out and knocks everybody out. Right.
But once he gets his bell rung,
and then suddenly he's not the same guy anymore.
It's like you Darvish. I make way too many references.
Well, it's like anything,
you Darvish, one of the greatest pitchers of our generation. If he has a bad inning, he'll lose it.
Yeah, exactly. Just crumbles.
Yeah.
So maybe that was actually like a hint into how he was going to crumble going forward.
That was for baseball fans only because he's not one of the best pitchers of our generation.
And I can't even remember last time I watched a baseball game. So
I know you didn't know that.
I just went with it. I was like, all right, Dave says he's the best pitcher ever.
No. He is really good. But yeah, that's very possible. I mean, that's kind of what this whole show is about, right? Like, falling into Saul Goodman. Nacho's Breaking Bad,
Yeah, badder.
He's breaking sloppy.
Breaking sloppy. Okay. I also think about Jim and Kim's relationship.
That's got to be affected just because they ended the last shot of the last scene of last episode. She's got the little eyebrow raised. She knows something's up, and I'm gonna stick by the whole like Hamlin and I did a little more research so I could sound more prepared. So Hamlin owes Chuck $8 million. He gave him $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
There's $5 million left over. Mm-hmm. I still think that maybe there's gonna be something up with that, and Jimmy might have ruined that or something with the money. Because he's acting like a jackass.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe. Well, yeah, I guess he could fuck it up. But I guess maybe he could also, maybe Jimmy kind of had his cake and eat it too in that last scene, right? Because Howard was blaming himself for Chuck's demise.
Right.
And he's just like, well, that's the cross you're going to have to bear. So double whammy. Not only can he kind of like stick it in Howard's face and make him feel like shit for the rest of his life.
Right.
But he might be thinking, and I'm getting that paper, son. Getting money, right?
Well, yeah, but I didn't, and I also forgot about the last time Hamlin and Jimmy interacted, where Hamlin was a dick. And he's like, you're just looking for the handout. You're pushing the sandpiper case to get your payout. And he literally takes out his wallet and is like, you want a handout? Here's some cash. He's a total asshole to him. So then it's like the whole, like, I was an asshole to you, but now I think I killed your brother.
Right.
You know, so he's just going to let him be racked with guilt. But I would like to say, I don't think that scene's over. I hope they keep going with that scene and Howard catches him whistling. And because Howard could be so wrapped up in his own emotions that he might not even pay attention. But Kim noticed. So.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. And I know they never fucking do this because it's going to be a scene about, it's going to open with like a scene about like Barry or somebody from, you know what I mean? Like it'd be awesome if just for once they picked up like a second after.
Well, they did. Season 2 to 3. Remember, it ended with him hitting stop on the recorder, and then I think it started with him picking the recorder up out of the drawer. I think that went straight on through. But
I guess I'm saying because it cut after that, right? Like
it's
feeding the fish and
totally
stuff.
Just like she raised her eyebrow. It zoomed in on Kim with her eyebrow raised, all curious like, and then went to black.
Right. So it'd be awesome if it picked up after because how would you react if you were Howard, right? Like I came here to somebody who's kind of at one point was my friend and somebody I respected and I liked his drive and stuff, but then he was kind of a dick, so I was a dick back. And now I'm thinking, oh, well, I caused his brother to kill himself.
Right.
And he just tells me it's my cross to bear. But now this dickhead is feeding fish and singing.
Making coffee.
Right. If you were Howard, here, let's go with that. If you were Howard, what do you think would be going through your mind? Because I think Howard would be smart enough to be like, that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like let's say I killed your brother.
Okay, yeah. Kyle.
Okay. So Kyle's gone. Okay. I said something. I was a total dick to him, and he
drove him over the edge.
He ended up with the through his. I don't want to get too dark with it. Drove him over the edge because Kyle's a family. I'm not getting them involved.
Okay.
So drove him over the edge, and then I tell you and your wife that I pushed Kyle over the edge, and you start whistling. I might attack you.
Right.
In all honesty, I might and you just start because I know you're kind of a dick. You're a polarizing personality for sure.
Yeah.
And,
so I read on iTunes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But you're also not Jimmy McGill. You don't get things over on people. But yeah, if you had that kind of reaction where it's almost like you were relieved about something, then I would definitely question that. I'd be like, why did your mood just change?
Right.
I would notice a change in your mood. And want to know. I wouldn't necessarily attack you, but I would be like, dude.
Right, there'd be some confrontation there, right?
Yeah, like have some empathy for me, motherfucker. Like I'm your friend. I feel like your brother.
I feel like Howard would almost be like in Howard's way, would almost think that Jimmy snapped, like in a way. You know how like people have like traumatic circumstances.
It's like when you laugh through the pain.
Yeah, or like
things add up so much you just kind of lose it and you just start laughing.
Right,
like this is hilarious. Like it's not hilarious.
I think that would be my first response is if I thought if I thought I drove somebody's brother over the edge and I poured my heart out to him, even though we haven't had the best of relationships, and the reaction was to feed the fish, make coffee, and start singing songs. I think my reaction would be like, oh my God, like he's actually in worse shape than I am. Like I feel like shit, but like that dude can't.
He's lost.
He can't handle it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because he doesn't know that Chuck told him that he never really cared about him, which was Chuck I think preparing Jimmy in a way to be apathetic towards his death. Right? I don't think from last season that was a big confession of Chuck being like, I don't care about you.
No, but do you think Chuck was planning to go at that point?
Yeah. I think
before he called the therapist, before he started going crazy and tearing
I think
his
it was an
house
act
apart.
of self-sabotage to make it easier for Jimmy to separate, because Jimmy always still cared for Chuck, obviously, like bringing him shit all the time, right? Like taking care of him, right?
Or maybe it was just to push him away so he stopped fucking him over.
No, I think it was to push him away. So like it was like they're so bad with their emotions towards each other, unless it's like an absolute dust up. People in those situations react kind of oddly, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I've heard of people having the rationale. It's like if somebody goes on like a drug bender with the intent that they might not come back, they start pushing away the family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, it's it's easier for them to accept it if they hate you than it is if they are 100% concerned and loved you, right? So I actually think in a weird twisted way that was Chuck's way of like lessening the impact for Jimmy.
I think
I might have discussed that last year, but like
Probably.
Thinking about it now on the couch at Third City Sound Studio in Joliet, Illinois, that's what I would think, because Howard doesn't know about that. But I think that's what Chuck was going for.
That's a whole nother discussion though, because I don't think Chuck was ready to off himself at that point.
I disagree. I did, but anyway,
we've already discussed this, and
right.
you know.
But so Howard doesn't know about that, right?
Right. Howard doesn't know about that. He doesn't know about that.
So
dynamite drop in, Donnie.
So I'm just saying, I would probably react as, holy shit, that dude's nuts. Like that guy's off his rocker, because he already thinks he's like some sort of crazy. Like he doesn't have the same, like. He probably already thinks he's some sort of sociopath to begin with, right?
Right.
Sociopath, right?
Right.
So like maybe he just thinks like that's it. Like it's just he's
okay,
hysterical, right? Or manic, right? Like
All right. Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Okay,
which we established.
Fair enough. What do you guys out there think before we get this episode posted? Let us know. That'd be a good Twitter conversation. How do you think Howard? What do you think Howard is thinking in that moment?
Right.
Because but I think we also disagreed on what we think Kimmy thinks, right? Because I kind of thought that Kimmy, even though she's seen him kind of be like mischievous and maybe even a little vengeful, this is because she knows what's going on, right? So like I think that was the first time where like the way she viewed him started to crack, and that was the first time she saw him as vindictive, because it wasn't even like a lie to save his ass. It was blatantly letting Howard believe that to basically crush that man's spirit. That's about as vindictive as it gets.
What if Howard kills himself now?
Oh jeez. If you had your way, every character would die some sort of.
I always tell people, and I believe you've heard me say this, my favorite movies are the ones where everybody dies at the end.
Maybe you're a sociopath. Maybe you're nuts.
Which is why The Mist is my favorite movie. Spoiler alert.
Whoa.
Best movie ending ever.
But you know what I mean? Like,
no, I thought we agreed. I think we agreed on that. I didn't think it was the first time. I mean, because
it was before where she would kind of like.
I think it's another hammer onto the wedge. The wedge is driven a little bit more.
Okay.
Because it's already kind of been there.
Mm-hmm.
She's tolerated his shenanigans on several occasions, and she's seen him kind of go too far a couple times and kind of reeled him back in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe to your point, this is when she stops reeling him back in.
There you go. Oh, that's a great way to put that. All right, digging it. Okay, cool. Yeah. And lastly, where does Mike go from here?
I'm interested to see what's going to happen, having gone back and now watched the whole Madrigal thing and realizing that I had forgotten, admittedly, that his whole job is to launder $200,000 so he gets 20 weeks of $10K a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I think he was all worried about having his name on the books, so he only went there to establish a legitimate reason for his name to be on the books.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with
I'm going to say with him contacting Lydia, she's going to think something's weird about that, because I don't think she wanted any interaction. She's just like, we're giving you your money, and then you're done. But now he's like throwing her name out there, so she's going to be like, who's this Airman Trout guy? She's going to freak out because she's prone to freak out, as we've seen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she's very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
She's very like...
Wish she wasn't Breaking Bad when she was in some really, really, really hot water.
Right. Just watched the episode... Season 5, episode 9, I think, of Breaking Bad the other day, where Walt kind of quote unquote get out of the business, and she shows up at Walt's car wash because like the business he handed over is, it went from like 99% pure to 68% pure, which is, I didn't know they graded drugs like that, but apparently they do.
In TV
I don't know,
shows,
if there's anybody out there who like does meth and could tell us if that's how that really works, like please do. But that's a good point. She's kind of, to loop back, she's kind of skittish and kind of goofy. But also, I was thinking, I didn't think this before, but we kind of brought it up earlier about the whole birthday card thing.
Uh-huh.
That'd be awesome if something that mundane caused a stir.
It would.
Right.
But they already know. But that I'm standing by that he's already told Barry he has your ID.
Mm-hmm.
And then Barry's going to be like, how did I sign this card? They maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking something's just going to happen about him showing his face there. He wasn't really supposed to show his face there. But now he is showing his face there.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to start asking questions.
Okay.
There was a thing in the article about things you missed in the pilot about Ted
and
his business.
Yeah.
It was in like the want ads or something.
Yeah. Completely loaded.
Yeah.
Right? Like the want ads had a bunch of crazy references, which is definitely good world building. Definitely a great way to do it.
Totally. little reasons to watch it again and pause the screen.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
I just, and then I realized it was the want ads and nothing to do with Madrigal, so never mind bringing that up.
Madrigal's like the singing group in high school?
No, it's the company Mike works for.
Oh. The way you said that.
I was a Madrigal in high school. Yeah.
Okay. I don't
swing choir.
Swing choir.
For those non
country bumpkins.
Country bumpkins, yes.
Yeah. those of you who aren't 1-star in iTunes country bumpkins. That's the swing choir.
Swing choir.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think those are like the three major plot lines. God, I don't know. The Mike thing moves so freaking slow.
God, that's so great though. Like I said, I chuckled because it was this big, long, elaborate scene, and then the payoff was
I'm doing my job.
Because it totally sets you up, just like everything in this goddamn show. Because everybody's like, oh well, this has got to mean this. This has got to mean this.
But it does.
And then usually it's more elaborate and bigger than that.
Yeah.
But the whole Mike thing, it was like, oh well, this has got to be working this angle, and this has got to be going to this plot point. And then it's like, no, it's exactly what you see. It's exactly what he was doing.
The genius of the show is that, we think that now, but in a couple episodes, we might not think that.
Mm-hmm.
There probably is some little mundane thing. Maybe it is the birthday card. But there's going to be something with that scene that's going to lead to something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It has to.
Right.
Or are we just conditioned? Like when Jimmy feeds goldfish, he makes coffee. When we see Mike, we think it's part of a bigger plot, but it's not. Who knows?
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to find out. This is all purely conjecture and speculation.
Yeah. Often incorrect. Often incorrect conjecture and speculation.
Also filling people's inboxes with way too many episodes because it hasn't been a regular pattern for 4 years.
Yeah, right. It's so weird. You know what probably happened is they were probably focusing on all the real media like IGN and like Entertainment Tonight, like all these like real, and they're like, oh yeah, those two assholes from Chicago, like we should probably just give them their shit. But in all seriousness, AMC has been absolutely awesome to us.
I was talking about how we make too many episodes.
Oh,
and to get more hits.
Oh,
we were accused of that.
I was talking about how they sent us, because usually they send the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
This time they sent the first 3.
Right.
So I thought you were saying with too many episodes. I thought you were saying like they sent us too much to keep track of. But
no, I was saying the fact that we do 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
And I know the listenership on this show isn't quite as high, especially since we didn't get any comments about how people are excited for their Friday morning commute.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Or whatever was probably be released on Sunday or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, you guys that are listening, like super awesome, because I don't know, this is still fun for us.
Totally. And we'll be in it to the end. So with that, I look forward to hearing what you guys think is going to happen in episode 402. Please hit us up on Twitter, ISGM Podcast on Twitter. You can send us email at like host@itsallgoodman.com or host@nothingimportantpodcast. You can listen to past episodes of Nothing Important Podcast where we talk to really cool people like Mike Rowe and Rick Astley. And man, there are so many.
Andrew WK.
Andrew fucking WK and Wheeler Walker Jr. and like all these great and really successful and inspirational people. Check out past episodes of It's All Good Man. If you're new to us, we've interviewed everybody from the damn cast except for Jonathan Banks.
Yep. One
day that's going to happen.
Someday.
And tomorrow I'll see if we can get the PFAB back on.
We should try and get Irene on, which I forgot to mention. I hope Irene comes back in the next few episodes. Because the Sandpiper case, that story's still moving.
Oh,
you know?
Good call.
So, I mean, it left with him taking the fall for being such an asshole to her. So I wonder if they may have some sort of amends or something like that.
That's a good call. Well, and if there's anybody you guys want me to reach out to and try to get them on the show, we've had pretty decent success for a couple of nobodies.
Yeah.
So, let me know who you would like to see on the show, and I'll definitely reach out to their agents.
Who would you like to hear on the show?
Who would I like to have on the show?
No, you said C, but we're an audio show.
Oh, yeah. So who would you like to hear on the show? One day we'll get Jonathan Banks. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I even tried to work the angle for Jonathan Banks. I even tried to work the angle that both Jonathan Banks and Bob Odenkirk were in The Incredibles 2. I even tried to work that angle. Like, we don't even have to talk about Better Call Saul. We could talk about Incredibles 2. I just want to put him on the podcast just to say I finally made it. Finally got Jonathan Banks after 4 years to be on or 5 years like real time, but like 4 years TV seasonal time.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Someday.
You know me. It's going to happen. And also, the last thing before we sign off, well, you can also check us out on A Plumist Among Us. A Plumist Among Us, it's our Rick and Morty podcast with me and Jeff, and Dave jumped in on the last episode, and it was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was.
Also, if you do live near Joliet, Illinois, Dave and I are actually going to play a show with our band that hasn't played in like 11 years.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But if you guys are interested to come hanging out with us in Joliet, Illinois, October 13th, and see us sing Rock and Roll Terribly,
PM me for details.
PM us for details.
Or DM on Twitter, right?
DM, whatever the fuck it is. Just get a hold of us. We'll make sure to give you a free cover. Just say you're with the It's All Good Man podcast, and we'll let you into the show for free.
There's no cover for anybody. It's a free show in a tiny place.
Exactly. And with that, Dave?
What's the sign off for this show?
Well, that is now.